This is the Pat Nat Cast, a podcast hosted by Pat Nat Games. Today I'm joined once again by Ivanavi. You know him for his plentiful work on various games such as Banjo Kazooie, Star Fox 64, Banjo Kazooie, Star Fox 64, and some others that are worth mentioning. Ivan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. That's the most accurate representation of my channel I've ever heard.
It just seems like anytime I take a browse on your channel, I look at what videos you have, I see a lot of the bear and I see a lot of the fox, or at least something
Yeah,
resembling those.
my formula is to make the content that my viewers like, Banjo-Kazooie, Star Fox, then I'll do something else that I wanna branch out into. It gets like
Sure.
100 views, and then I go back to Banjo and Star Fox.
Every once in a while, you open the door and they slam it back shut because you're
Yeah.
boxed in with these two N64 games for the rest of your life. Just
Yeah, my feelings are still hurt about the Harry Potter video I spent a month working on.
oh, rest in peace. You know what? For your sake, Ivan, I'm gonna link that in my description. That'll give it a
Oh.
huge boost. Just you wait. Just you wait.
I believe it.
We don't know when the boost is coming. It might be tomorrow. It might be in a week. It might be 10 years from now. But one day that's going to get a huge old boost. And you're going to be like, I'm so glad I spent months on this video. Which hopefully,
Hell yeah.
hopefully you're glad either way. Because if you
Oh,
spent
yeah, I
months on
had
it,
a
it
great
must mean
time
it's
with
a
it.
pretty dang good video.
I did not have a good time dealing with the copyright issues of like,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was a nightmare. I
Yeah, that's tough. Because I assume you're talking about the movies specifically.
Yeah, the movies.
Yeah,
Yep.
that'll do it. Yeah, I've for a hot minute now have had an idea linger in the back of my mind to start a specifically not a movie channel because I don't feel like I'm qualified enough for a movie channel because people I talk to always tell me like I'm way too harsh and I'm not seeing the full picture and I'm like you know what fair enough I might not have a good critical eye for it but TV shows specifically I've been getting engrossed in some of like the best of those, and I think the reason I connect with them is because you can write such an expansive story over the span of multiple seasons as opposed to being confined to 2 hours or an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Um, and I just love world building and stuff, and I think that's why it caters to me a lot. So I've had a number of shows where I'm like, I'd really like to make a video on this one topic about it. But then I start thinking about the copyright stuff. I'm like, I don't even want to begin trying to avoid copyright stuff. You know, I'm barely safe with my Nintendo stuff as it is. The second I get into freaking talking about like Avatar the Last Airbender or Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. Like I don't want to deal with that headache. So I persuade myself to not venture for it. But
Yeah, and it's such a gamble too, like, you'd never
right.
know. Like, I tried uploading that video, like, 30 or 40 times, and it didn't
No
work.
kidding.
Like, edited it down to where I'm using, like, frames from the film instead of footage, and I finally get it up, and then I see other videos with, like, 7, 8 million views that are just
Yeah,
using footage, and
right.
I'm like, "Well, h why do they get away from it?"
Yeah, that's an
Or away
excellent
with it.
question. Some people could just get away with almost showing the whole movie, and it's like,
Uh,
how are you bypassing that? I don't understand. There's
they
some kind of
clearly know
some
something I
trickery in the
don't.
background. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if, YouTube, like, searches for, or rather copyright holders, I don't know if they have something that flags, like, any kind of review in the tag or in the transcript or something like that, and be like, "No, no, we don't want people reviewing this stuff, but if they're reposting
Mm.
our trailers, that's free advertisement." But I don't
Yeah.
who knows? I don't know how any of that works. And that's a long-winded way to say that you guys should check out, Ivan's Harry Potter video, to bring more validation and, appreciation for his hard work. Ivan, I've got a question for you. Do you wanna know what kind of question it is?
No, just hit me with the question. I'd like to
Okay,
be
I
surprised.
won't tell you this is an icebreaker question, but I do have an icebreaker question. My question for you is it's kind of a two-parter. What is a game that you love to death? It doesn't need to be your favorite game, but what's a game you love to death? And what's a game that you particularly dislike, might even say despise? You have some leeway.
Okay.
Doesn't need to be tops of anything, but what
Yeah.
comes to your mind when I give you those two prompts?
Okay, okay. I'll use this opportunity. I've never talked about this on my channel
Okay.
beyond like a few editing uh, lampshades here and there. Final Fantasy X is one of my favorite games
Okay.
all time. It's kind of outside of my wheelhouse. Like I've never been much of a RPG guy outside of like a few franchises that I like
Sure.
Paper Mario. But Final Fantasy X has such a special place in my heart. I love the characters, I love the story. It's so nostalgic. The music is incredible. So I have no problem. That's probably in my top 3 games ever.
To
Whenever I trust myself enough to handle it, I'll probably do a video on it someday.
Now that's one that's on the PS1, correct?
It was the first PS2 title, actually.
Okay, got it.
Uh, I think.
I feel like I have heard, obviously I don't know anything about Final Fantasy, but when people throw around the numbers of which ones they like, I feel like people often bring up like 10 almost as a counter to the 7 argument, where a lot of people really like to bolster up 7, and then some person goes like, actually 10 does this thing and this thing better or
Yeah.
something. So I at
Yeah,
least trust that it
yeah.
has clout.
Mhm. Yeah, I've never played 7. I'm sure it's a
Uh-huh.
fantastic game. So I'm not like
Sure.
involved in that debate. I just
Right.
remember my uncle got it for me for Christmas and it's been a part of my heart ever since.
Right.
Uh for a game that I hate, um
Or
it's a
strongly
that's
dislike,
all.
we
Yeah.
don't hate games around here. We just really, really dislike
Yeah.
them and sometimes want to break them. But that doesn't mean we hate them.
Yeah. That's a hard question to answer because I typically don't play games that I dislike, but
Right. Understandably so.
give me like 5 seconds. I have like a tentative answer, but
Okay.
let me just real quick
I'll
rack my
also
brain for
say,
something else.
if it helps, it doesn't have to be a game you played. It could be a game that you despise upon looking at, uh, you
Yeah,
know, and have made the decision to not play because you despise it. Or, it could be whatever you want.
yeah, that yeah, that could be a num like Forspoken comes to mind, which is like
Okay.
representative of a modern style of writing that I can't stand. But I'm gonna
Interesting.
go with the um this isn't I'm cheating with this answer a little bit because I no
Okay.
longer dislike this game. But when it first came out, I was like hardline Breath of the Wild hater.
Gotcha.
Uh, Big time. Hated it. And I was so annoyed that it was the best thing since sliced bread. And it
Right.
was like like I'd meet people and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I love Zelda." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, which one have you played or which one's your favorite?" And then they're like, "Well, the only one I've played is Breath of the Wild."
Right.
And that just it also, I'm a huge Skyward Sword fan, so I had to deal with like 5 or 6 years of having to hear why one of my favorite games is an affront to God and
Right.
science.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then Breath of the Wild comes out and it's
You
totally
feel like you need to
revolutionary
return the
and
favor.
yeah, saved the world and no, I appreciate Breath of the Wild now. I've gotten over it. I was quite a bit younger at the time, but I still have
It's
issues
crazy
with
how
it.
old that game is now.
I
It's
know,
actually
I know.
uncomfortable how old that game is now.
Going on 9 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
but so there's an answer to your question. For a period of about 5 years after its release,
Right.
um, and actually the release of Tears of the Kingdom did a lot for Breath of the Wild, in my estimation, which is
Interesting.
kind of odd. But it made me respect Breath of the Wild.
Right.
Um,
Well, I think
uh,
that's a completely fair answer. I think also, try as we might, when there's something that we particularly are not interested in, and everybody around us is nothing but interested in it, you can't help but want to defend your stance even further. Um, Sometimes shadowing even what your real stance actually is, but I think that's
yeah,
the beauty of
yeah,
game critique, is that we do let it evolve, we do change our opinions and thoughts on things. I might have mentioned this in 1 or 2 episodes, but the idea of history revisionism in game critique, that
dude,
that
yeah,
hearing that as a response to someone changing their opinion on a game, I think is very dangerous, because it's almost saying, "Hey, you should not evolve your opinion. You liked this game back then. You're locked in. You can't dislike it now."
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's a mentality I don't think is great.
Yeah, it's a combination of things because there is a tendency in like particularly on YouTube where somebody will make this big giant YouTube like video essay about a
Uh,
beloved game and they're like Mario Odyssey is terrible actually. And it's like kind of going back and like undercutting and the response to that is like, "Oh, everyone wants to go back and change history about the way these games are viewed," and it just gets caught up in this, like,
Well,
dichotomy almost, but
I guess
I
my
mean
my question is always though is are the people who are now saying that Odyssey is bad, are they the same people that were saying Odyssey was great? Or was it just that we only heard the people who were saying it was great and now the people feel like they can dance on it because they found something that fits their liking more?
yeah. Oh, well,
Because
that's a good question, but my
right.
point was more to, like, the response to those videos, where it will then all of a sudden, a bunch of people will be like, "Odyssey isn't that great," and at least in my
Right.
opinion, a lot of those people probably did love it before they saw that video,
Yeah,
but
and I
that's
think
just
that's
me.
a big problem too is this idea that that because influences are so prominent online now, like our whole vision of game critique is so molded by what a random essayist might say. And I feel like it's hard to break
Mhm.
out of that without acknowledging that, like, oh, hey, I've only got the views of this person I watch. And then it's like,
Yeah.
at some point you have to ask yourself what is your own emotional response to it because you're trying to mirror someone else's emotional and replacing it with your own. And it's not like it's not purposeful, it's not, unhuman, to sympathize with
Mm,
that, and
for
not
sure.
everyone feels like they wanna have a fully developed opinion on a game, that's totally fine. You're not it's not like
Mhm.
you're doing the world a disservice by being a casual fan or casual, I guess, lack of a better word, hater for a game. Uh, but I think this is really important when you have such big creators talking about video games. It's so important to reemphasize the idea of your own personal experience triumphs anything else that you hear or absorb about the critique of a game. Uh,
Yeah.
I think that's just really, really important.
Yeah, and that's like one of my number one goals as a YouTuber is to make sure my opinions are my own
There
and
you
that I'm
go.
not catering to a particular like narrative
Right.
or opinion. Like I've probably said plenty of things on my channel that are just wrong or poorly argued, but I believe every single one of those things that I've said.
Sure. Yeah, and you shouldn't feel bad about believing what you say. It's like it's okay to acknowledge, like, hey, even if it's something like I just said, I don't have a great eye for movies. I still have my opinions on them, and I'm still going to tell people
Sure.
my opinions on them, and they're still going to be mad at me. But I'm going to be like, yeah, it might be a wacky opinion. I hate action movies. That might be a wacky opinion, but like, I'll own it. It's okay. I don't have a strong argument for why I hate it, but
Yeah.
I just hate it, and I'm okay with that. I don't actually hate him, but I
Yeah.
generally don't click. That's move past that. Um, I did
If
have.
there's
Oh, please continue.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, if there is one thing I can thank Breath of the Wild for, it
Uh
was a
huh.
huge inspiration for starting a YouTube channel. Before I released
Something
any
to talk about.
videos, I wrote like 3 or 4 versions of a Breath of the Wild review. And
Okay.
if you'll notice, there is no Breath of the Wild review on my channel.
Mm,
Because it was such a big project. I had no experience with writing something like that, editing, recording. So
sure.
eventually I was just like, you know what? I'm going to start with something small.
Right.
And I'm actually really glad I went that way. But
Especially
Breath
now
of the
that you
Wild
you feel
is,
like you have a new vision of Breath of the Wild too.
yeah, yeah. And like, yeah, if that was my first video, this big, like, reactionary review of Breath of the Wild, that's just not really what I,
Sure.
that's not the kind of content I want to make. Um,
Yeah. I mean, if anyone asks where is it, Ivan, just be like, it's still cooking, still cooking, it's still on the
for sure.
stove. We'll get it out eventually. Maybe by the time the next Breath of the Wild game comes out, which will probably be the next Zelda game. But uh, you know, uh
No, don't say it.
I'm trying to come
I
into
lo
acceptance with it too. And from my perspective, just so everyone knows, I love Breath of the Wild. I loved it since the first day I played it. I also have a handful of gripes and nitpicks, and I feel like when other people brought that up during Tears of the Kingdom's reign, um, other the some of the response they would get would be like, don't pretend Breath of the Wild's bad now," which kind of goes back to my revision history. It's like I already had all
Yeah,
these
yeah.
thoughts. I didn't make a video only signifying those thoughts. But if I were to now, people might be like, "Wow, this guy's gonna pretend like he didn't fall in love with Breath of the Wild." It's like, no, I
Mhm.
love Breath of the Wild, and I always have, but also major gripes. I I did have a way to turn this all around though. I did ask this question for a return point eventually.
Oh,
Um, so you mentioned Final Fantasy X, you know, way back when in the dinosaur times. Um, you mentioned it's a game you very much appreciate. This exercise, can you tell me what you very much do not appreciate about Final Fantasy X?
oh,
This
okay.
is with the context of us already knowing that you very much appreciate it. So you're not hurting
Yeah,
anyone's feelings by saying the honest truths about things that gripe you with it. It's more just an exercise in being honest with our critiques. Not
yeah.
I'm not calling you out or anything. It's just this
Mhm.
is just I thought would be a fun question to ask.
Yeah. I would say, and I'll list a couple of, like, legitimate criticisms of it
Sure.
that I may or may not feel myself. It is, like, a very standard JRPG, and that was intentional,
Mm,
'cause, 7 came out, and then you had 8 and 9, which were a little bit more experimental.
right.
I think 9 was, like, an MMO or something,
Yeah.
uh, but and so Final Fantasy was kind of going in the direction that we see it today, where it's more of like an action-oriented RPG. And so Final Fantasy was like a very traditional JRPG, turn-based, attacks, magic, summons.
Right.
I think it executes it very well, but if, it is kind of a tired genre.
Right.
Um, so it not going back to it today, if you're not partial to it, you might play it and be like, "Oh, this is just the tit for tat turn-based combat you can play in any Square Enix game."
Right.
So there's that, and the the world is not as fully realized maybe that it could be. It's
Okay.
very I think it's in line with, like, previous like, what you might expect from Final Fantasy VII or something, where there's open
Right.
areas, but they're all kinda structured linearly,
Sure.
um, and particularly towards the end of the game, it gets very repetitive because the game is very story driven. So, like,
Right.
as you're progressing, you get lots of cutscenes and interactions, but as that, like, naturally dries up towards the end of the narrative, it starts to feel a little bit bland and almost empty. Um,
Gotcha.
so there I would say those 2 things
Okay.
are the ones that come to mind.
Right. And I can definitely see why those things are noteworthy, but also not prominent enough to overshadow your overarching opinion of it being a great game. Those both seem like
Yeah,
overcomeable experiences, which is good.
I
Um,
think so, yeah.
the next part of the question is about Breath of the Wild, and you actually probably
Mhm.
chose the luckiest game to pick here because you did previously have a lot of gripes with this game. So please explain why you like this game, the elements that you do appreciate of it.
Mhm.
Now that you've started coming around, I'd love to hear about some of that.
Well, there's so much to talk about because, like, yeah, it's a game that I didn't like and still have grievances with, but at the same time, it's just an incredible game. Mm,
Sure.
the art is beautiful, but more than that, it's like the world is so realized in like
Yeah.
a very tangible and immersive way.
Right.
Like you can hear the wind and it's like dynamic blowing through the grass and the trees.
Right.
Uh, There's a somberness just baked into the experience that's
Yeah.
really, like, appealing,
Right.
um, and it's very sandboxy with, like, its combat and mechanics,
Yeah. You can use a
um
broom.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you can do so much. And, like, we see all the ridiculous things that people can build in Tears of the Kingdom, but there was an element of that that was already very much present in Breath of the Wild, where you, like, attach an explosive barrel to an
Right.
Octorok balloon and use a Korok leaf to blow it into a group of enemies.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's very much a game that, like, everyone's gonna play differently.
Right.
Everyone's going to appreciate it for different things, um,
Yeah.
and I really like that. I respect the, commitment to that side of the game. Other areas of
Yeah.
the game suffered for it, but that open world, it's like the truest open world there's ever been, for better or
Absolutely.
worse.
Yeah.
Um, and that world speaks, like, really clearly. I think it does.
Right.
If that world wasn't as well designed as it was, Breath of the Wild would have been hurt by that. But
I
because of
agree.
how incredible it is, it works. At
I
least that's how
something
I see
I
it.
something I bring up often is just the state of open world games when Breath of the Wild came out. I had personally been feeling a huge burnout on open world games because
Yeah.
things like Fallout, freaking trying to remember Just Cause, a lot of games coming out in that like every game's an open world time period. They just felt so empty to me. They felt
Yeah.
like repetitive, and I felt so disconnected with the genre that when I heard that the next Zelda was going to be open world, I was just like, "Are you kidding me? That's the last thing I want right now." And I was super skeptical about the idea, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Zelda is so structured. How in the world are you going to make?" Even Wind
Yeah.
Waker had to maintain its very structured route despite having a massive world to explore, right? And I was like, how can you even translate Zelda into a fully committed open world? And then I felt like I was fooled because when I played the game, I was like, oh my gosh, they actually did it right. Like this was a
Yeah.
joke on me. This was a prank on me because this was a world I wanted to explore. It's not a world that felt empty at all. Um, and incredibly, all the things that I feel like I would never want to remove from a Zelda experience, like its classic music or its classic item
Yeah.
lineup, all those things, even if I miss them today, uh, I still look at Breath of the Wild and be like, that was that they have silver linings with all of those decisions that they made. Without hardcore music, you do have this, like you mentioned, somber feeling thanks to the what I have always called piano commentary that plays in the background as opposed to music that is more interruptive
Yeah.
because it's aiding the feeling that they were going for of Link now exploring a post dead world that somehow doesn't feel dead at all because it's so
Mhm.
uh, naturally beautiful. When you look
Yeah.
at like all these cliffs and these mountains, it's like how is this a somber game? Uh, and yet it is. You feel like you're walking over something that's been long gone, a great a great kingdom that is no more.
Yeah.
Uh, I love that. Yeah, I love Breath of the Wild. And I think we've talked about this together before, but I think we both agree that we just hope it's not only Breath of the Wild from now on because there's so much traditional
For
Zelda
here
that
and
I want to
forevermore. Yeah.
right. I really want to be able to use a hook shot again. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to be able to hotkey my boomerang on Y, hook shot on Z, bow on X. I want
Mhm.
I want linearity again. Like I would hate if Zelda never returned to that format. But I also just cannot deny that's like, well, Breath of the Wild just did
Yeah.
so much good stuff.
Yeah, as someone who likes Tears of the Kingdom as a game, as an experience, a little bit better than Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
But I think whenever you're talking about Breath of the Wild, you have to like divorce it from that and take it as like it was so like as like you
Yeah.
said in the context of those Ubisoft style open worlds with markers on your map and bottled quest.
That's what they were all becoming was the Ubisoft style. That's a great way to describe it.
Like in the context of all that going on, Breath of the Wild like took that open world idea and did something that was both, like, really revolutionary, but also, like, so simple and, like, it makes you kinda slap your face and be like, "Well, this is just how open worlds should be." Like,
Right.
it's not the open world is not the problem, it's the way all these companies are
Yeah.
handling it.
Absolutely. And it's so funny that Zelda was the one to come by and conquer it because Zelda was kind of the original conqueror of 3D
Mhm.
adventure games. And then as the
Yeah.
3D adventure genre started to get a little bit stiff, even within the Zelda franchise. Not to say Zelda games before Breath of the Wild were bad, but there was definitely this stiffening of like, hey, we're not really pushing the boundaries anymore in this genre. Then they break it open again and be like, okay, well, we're gonna go conquer this open world genre thing. One that almost felt like a bubble that would burst because
Mhm.
like gamers were getting tired of it. And that was the shot in the arm it needed. Now suddenly we're just back into open world games again. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah,
for better
it's
or
crazy
worse,
cool.
but
Yeah.
oh,
For better or for
just
worse.
to sum up, I really like how Breath of the Wild is, like, this revolutionary step forward, but also kind of a return to form.
Yeah,
I think it's
absolutely.
very unique in that way.
Yeah, and to comment on your what you said about Tears of the Kingdom, I agree completely. I think in the context of like part of what made Breath of the Wild special was the fact that it was special, you know, is that it was not like
Yeah,
anything else.
yeah.
So you can't help but look at Tears of the Kingdom and be like, okay, well, it's on the crutches of something that already existed now, which is just not the case of Breath of the Wild. And because of that, like you said, in legacy form, we're over time, I don't think we're going to be looking at Tears of the Kingdom the same way we maybe look at Majora's Mask, which was very different from Ocarina of Time. I
Yeah.
think Tears of the Kingdom is just going to be kind of seen almost like Breath of the Wild DLC, and it was some dang good DLC, but it
Mhm.
wasn't it wasn't a groundbreaking Zelda game. Even though it was kind of
I
groundbreaking, I feel
completely
kind of
agree.
bad saying that because the creative stuff they did was really advanced, obviously. But I agree that the allure is not going to be as
Mhm.
memorable as Breath of the
And
Wild.
we've seen that in its reception and
Yeah,
the the conversation around it since.
right. Which again, I don't some people really like I have a friend who I think he's borderline saying the game sucks. He says it doesn't suck, but it also doesn't not suck. That's kind of his exact stance
Mm.
on it, I think. And I have a hard time understanding because I'm like, boy, I had
I do
so much
too.
fun playing Tears of the Kingdom. Like I had a great time. Um
It also has the bones of Breath of the Wild there, so, like, if you, like,
right.
just love Breath of the Wild, you can still get that experience in a large part in Tears of the
Yeah.
Kingdom.
Yeah, and I think like what's often brought up is like, well, it should have had a different world, and it's like, okay, fair. If we had a different world, we probably would have a stronger reception towards it. And I get 7 years in the making. Maybe having the same world for 7 years is not great on paper, but as for a game that does use the same world, I think it does just about as good as it can to make that world interesting to explore again. It wasn't exploring for the first time like it was with Breath of the Wild. A lot of the scenery I was less wowed by because I'd already seen it, but
Mhm.
they made the focus less about the destination and more about how you get to the destination because they really expanded different ways of mobility through creation of machines, but also just having more lateral environments with the floating skies and the depths. It became a lot more about actually getting there and less about different vistas that you arrive at. So
Mhm.
I think as a focus standpoint, it works. It does the best it can with having a pre-made world and pre-made rule set. Um and yeah, so as such, I very much like Tears of the Kingdom. I don't think I could ever say it's better than Breath of the Wild though, because Breath of the Wild was just
Yeah.
it has that special factor, and I
I
can't
think
move
that's
past that. Yeah,
totally fair.
right. But doesn't make Tears bad. Tears is still I think awesome. Is it IGN's number one game of all time good? No, I don't think so. That was weird. But yeah, it's a solid time. Um I think that was probably the longest icebreaker question segment ever.
Oh,
But that's
yeah.
okay. We had a good discussion. We had some much needed things to vent about the current state of Zelda. I did have another question for you. What what have you been playing, Ivan? What's been in your hands? What's been on your screen? What's been in your conscious? What kind of games has Ivanavi been experiencing lately?
Well, I haven't had just a whole lot of time to be playing video games lately, but when I do, it's either been Indiana Jones: The Great Circle or Hyrule Warriors: Imprisonment. Those are I kinda go back and forth
Okay.
between them depending on my mood.
If you don't mind, I'd love to hear about Hyrule Warriors first, just because we already talked about Zelda, and it's because I happen to be renting the game right now. So I'd love to
Okay.
hear your take on it.
I've been very pleasantly surprised by it, to be honest.
Okay.
I had a gift card from Christmas, and I was looking at the eShop, and that was, like, really the only thing there that I had any interest at all, and it
Sure.
took me, like, a full 24 hours to actually decide to buy it because I was like, "It's just another Warriors game. Do I even
Right.
care about this story or these characters?"
Have
But
you
I did get it,
have
and
you played Warriors
I've really
before
been
this? Out of curiosity.
I've played the original Hyrule Warriors,
Okay.
an obscene amount of it actually, and I really
No kidding.
like
Okay.
that game.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and I'm not a traditional Warriors fan. I've never really played Dynasty
Yeah.
Warriors,
Not
but
a
Hyrule Warriors
not a
is
ton of people.
one of my yeah, um, and I've been really enjoying it, just on how fun I find it to be. Now, I've only played it, like, 10 hours maybe, so I'm sure it will start to, like, sink in that, like, okay, the game really is just do these combos over and over again.
Right.
But again, I think I've had a really good time with, like, the like, interactions. That's, like, the most fun part of the game to me is when you can just, like, annihilate a huge enemy with, like,
Right.
the Zonai devices and stuff. And
Yeah.
I've been enjoying the story, like, surprisingly enough. Uh, it's not anything to write home about, but,
It it
it's
is
serviceable.
it's nice to see the other side of the Tears of the Kingdom story.
Mhm.
I think that was probably the best way you could do a Hyrule Warriors story is
Yeah.
uh, because we already know what the outcome is, but now we just get to explore inside that,
Mhm.
which is neat.
Yeah, and I think it actually, like I didn't play Age of Calamity, but I
Right.
know about, like, the story, and I
Yeah.
think in comparison, this one actually improves the story of Tears of the Kingdom a little bit, at least so far.
Interesting. Okay.
Like, I think the existence of this story, being able to see everything that Zelda did and went through, actually kind of makes Tears of the Kingdom story a little bit more it gives it a little bit of depth.
Sure.
Um, which it was
Well,
lacking.
it definitely felt like we were not experiencing the full story when we played
Mhm.
Tears of the Kingdom. That was for sure. It felt like there
If
were
just
things
yeah,
that wasn't coming to us.
if just we in Breath of the Wild, we had the Guardians and
Yeah.
or no, sorry, the Champions, um, and they were each, like, this really vibrant and great character, and then in Tears of the Kingdom, we had faceless, standard Goron, Zora, Ritu,
Right.
and so just being able to see those characters actually realized has, I think, been cool. But
Yeah. A nice return to familiar form. Uh,
mhm.
now the have you found yourself skipping many of the cutscenes?
I have not skipped any of the cutscenes, but I have skipped through, like, the interstitial dialogue between each mission,
Right. Okay.
the narration.
So I've played for maybe an hour.
Mm,
The the first hours got quite a bit of uh
yes.
cutscene action going on. And I was trying to keep it running for the sake of footage because cutscenes make for good footage. But I was just
Mhm.
like I'm just getting so bored. I need to skip forward to because
Your
like
whole your whole rental period will be consumed by the
right. Yeah,
cutscenes.
that's another thing. Something I frequently say is like I like my games fast and then I like my movies slow. Um when it's a movie game, it can be tricky for me to maintain my level of engagement when I have a controller in my hand knowing pretty soon I
Yeah.
get to use that controller.
Oh, you probably
So
wouldn't like Final Fantasy X then.
no, and I was holding my tongue. Yeah, look, art JRPGs, yeah, that's a tough thing for me to enter, and I recognize that, and because of that, I don't bash the genre, I let them do their thing. But yeah, as for Hyrule Warriors, I'm such a character-driven narrative guy. Like you could
Yeah.
have no plot whatsoever, and if you have good characters, I'm like still on board. Um, I my eyes start to roll over a little bit when it's like uh just explaining what we need to do, like plan making.
Yeah.
I don't know, a lot of stuff that in the cutscenes when I was thinking, I was just like, I think I already know where this is going. We're just going to this place to do this thing. Um, and I can appreciate lore, especially you mentioned like the Zonai devices. I have found it cool, the character that uses the Zonai devices to actually fight. Like that stuff I find interesting when you have lore that's seamlessly integrated with the gameplay. But call me a true Metroid fan, once the lore is forced upon me, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I kind of just want to shoot some things. Uh,
I am a bit of a cutscene gamer. I like
sure,
games with really well told cinematic stories.
sure.
But one thing I have found is that is a huge barrier to replayability. Like Red
Yeah.
Dead Redemption 2 is a
Oh
fantastic
my
game,
gosh, it
but I
is.
never start that game again because the it's like 3 hours to get through, like,
Yeah,
really linear storytelling
and
sections
it's a lot of it's not even cutscenes, but just characters talking while riding somewhere, and you
while
have to put
writing
up
or
with that every
walking.
time. And I love that game. It was so much fun. I love,
Mhm.
and like I said, I'm into the characters. They have really, really probably. like arguably the best characters in any video game is in Red Dead. Like super well developed. When you're in the camp and just hear them talking, I'm in bliss. I love it. But also when you like, God forbid, lose a mission and have to listen to the speech over again while you're riding somewhere, you're just like, oh my gosh. Or when you have to
Yeah.
use QuickTime events to reattach a wheel that broke off, and you're just like, I just get me to the good stuff. Red Dead's a great thing to
Yeah.
bring up because it's such a it's it shouldn't it's anti my preference in games, and yet I love it so much, and I just
Yeah.
have to deal with it. Uh yeah, all that said, I totally appreciate the good storytelling through cutscenes. I don't know if I was necessarily feeling that yet with
Mhm.
Hyrule Warriors, but that could change. I'm only an hour in, so I might
Yeah.
get more engaged with the cutscenes further on, depending on how far I get in my rental period.
Well, from what I've seen, I'm in the minority of people who are actually engaged with the story. Um, so I
Sure.
would not have high expectations for your, impression to change.
My expectations are very little for the story of a Warriors game already, so it's all good.
Yeah.
I'm not coming in disappointed. I the actual playing has been relatively fun. The combat system I'm still kind of mulling over because uh I can't help but feel that no matter what combo output you do, the outcome is the same. Like I've yet to get to a point where any of my choices in what kind of combo I actually do matters. But again, that's stuff that could change as I get further into the game. So I'm
Yeah.
reserving my critiques for now because it might get better. But yeah, this is also my first Warriors game, so I'm learning.
Mm,
I'm figuring
I
out
got you.
what the deal with this is. I'm very curious to try the original now, though. Especially after you mentioned you played it, because I was like, I wonder how many people actually played the original at this point. Did you play it on Wii U or did you play the remake?
Played it on Wii U,
No kidding.
originally.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I bought it. I was, like, 17 at the time,
Well, to be
and that was
fair,
a game that I bought for myself and played, and I
yeah.
loved it. And
The
I've also played the definitive edition on Switch, which is the better version, but
okay. Yeah, you've when you were a Wii U owner, you pretty much had to buy everything. You were just
yeah.
you didn't have much to work with. You're like, all right,
No,
zombie U. I guess we're throwing that in the library.
there we go.
Yeah. Well, that's great and all. I don't even remember what the other game you mentioned was.
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones. Yes, tell me how how you've liked Indiana Jones so far. I've heard nothing but great things about this game.
It's great. It's very, very good.
Yeah,
It's like the perfect blend of I've it's one of those games where I'm like, this is another excellent evolution of the open world, like, gameplay style. It's
sure.
more compact, that it's more like open zone, kind of.
Right,
I've heard that
right.
term thrown around.
Yeah.
It's so interactive and immersive. You can approach combat a number of different ways, or you can just
Yes.
not fight at all.
Right.
The story it's pretty good. It's kept my attention.
Mhm.
It is one of those games where the gameplay is just so fun itself that I'm just like, even though the story is okay, I'm just like, okay, let's get through this so I can get back to throwing shovels at Nazis. Like,
Right,
it's
right. Yeah, we take games where you can actually do that without repercussions. That's great.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No moral culpability whatsoever,
No, no.
which is great because you can do some pretty cruel things to
Yeah.
people in that
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, very cool. That's been on not an actual list, but I can say it's been on my list for a while. I still have not gotten around to playing it, but I've heard nothing but great things about it. Um, which is so surprising. You would not expect an Indiana Jones game to be like in
Yeah.
the modern age with licensed titles. You hear that kind of stuff and you're just like, ah, whatever. It's not going to be
Mhm.
anything. But to hear it be revered is wild.
Mhm. It's one of those games that has a little something for everybody. Like, for me, I really love the open-ended and interactive, like, combat
Yeah,
and world
that's what I
interactions.
keep hearing about is the
Yeah,
combat.
but then it also has really, really good puzzles that I've really been
Oh,
enjoying.
okay.
And puzzles are hard to do. A puzzle if you
Yeah.
put puzzles in your game, it's gonna live or die by it,
Right.
and so
Yeah.
far this
I mean, I
game
played Metroid
is
Prime
living.
4. Yeah. Well, good stuff. Good stuff. Glad to hear some more reinforcement that I need to play this game that who knows if I'll ever have time to. Um, you ready to get into some news, Ivan?
Let's do it. It's about time. I mean, we've
It's
only
about
spent
time.
40 minutes.
It's all good. It's a relatively slow news week. Just a couple things to go over.
Uh,
I did want to first start off by talking about the Super Mario Galaxy Movie Direct, which happened recently. And I guess because we already discussed it beforehand, I might as well come clean to the audience. I have not watched it, but I have a rundown list, and I know Ivan is more knowledgeable about it than I am. But it was a 5 minute direct apparently about, and it was pretty much
or
just
six,
a
yeah.
trailer and Miyamoto reminding us that he is still working in the industry. Is that a correct assessment?
That is correct. Yep. And that, I mean, bless his heart, he's just a weird guy. The guy in charge of
He is a
Illumination.
weird guy. Yeah, dude,
Uh,
I can
but
only imagine the studio execs at Illumination having to work with Miyamoto and just be like, "Oh my gosh, this guy." It's I can
yeah.
only like I wish I could be a fly on the wall and see what their like talks at the bar is after a day of working with Miyamoto on a movie because that's got to be the most micromanaged thing
Yeah.
to have ever
Oh,
existed.
yeah. And he has a reputation for like giving advice or criticism in really cryptic ways. Like
Right.
the famous example is the visor on Metroid Prime, where he was like, "What if Samus could see through Bug's eyes?" And the retro devs had to go
Oh
back and
my
be like,
gosh.
"All right, we have to figure out what he meant by
That's
that and how
so
to do it."
funny. Yeah, what a wild personality that guy is.
Yeah.
I think it's like I don't imagine him making the Mario movies that like I don't imagine his contributions being exclusively positive to the movies, but I'm also like I'm okay with you kind of sticking around with the movies and theme park stuff and letting other people do the
Yeah,
games things. Like no shade to everything you've done for the
of
games
course.
industry, but on your exit out, man, you screwed up some other titles that really should have been good without your input, but
Yeah.
yeah, you know.
All respect in the world, but
Right. But also
let's
keep
let
having
some
fun.
some new talent. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you do
Yeah,
your
yeah.
thing. You're doing a
You
great
do your
job.
thing. Well, in this trailer specifically, they showed off a number of things. Number one, biggest one probably being Yoshi. To my understanding,
Mhm.
a talking Yoshi, which is I guess we'll see how much the talking actually is in the movie,
Uh,
but that's
I
a little
didn't
bit
I didn't see him, like, talking
uh,
outside of saying, like, Yoshi or maybe like a he seemed to be like a pretty I only watched it once, so I may just be totally talking off my
okay.
rocker here, but it seemed like he was just making Yoshi sounds in my head. But
I think there was a lot of Yoshi sounds. I feel like there was one or two words of human sounds made, but
yeah.
I had watched the trailer exactly once while holding my finger on the screen to two times speed it, so I could be wrong. But I feel like I've heard some discourse about it specifically talk about like I hope Yoshi doesn't continue to talk and stuff. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't actually have that much of a preference either way, to be honest. Uh, was there anything that stood out to you in the trailer that you found interesting?
I did have one thing stand out to me. It's very minor, but
Uh huh.
it's just like it was like a wow, this is the world we're living in moment where there are memes about movie trailers online where they have
Uh
the
huh.
big percussive drums and then like
Oh
the
yeah.
the piano remix of like a
Yeah.
song. And whenever they show Yoshi for the first time, it does the Super Mario World. So it goes dun dun da 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 in that like really dramatic
Yeah. That's funny.
piano with the and it just made me laugh.
Yeah.
But no, I think it looks great. I'm a huge man child and uh I really liked the first Mario movie and I see no reason why I won't like this one.
Sure. It seems like it's where it's not like the back when the first movie trailers dropped and everyone was like, "That's what Mario looks like," or "That's what Mario
Yeah.
sounds like." It's like we're already adjusted and acquainted now. Now it's just time for the trailers to
Mhm.
speak for themselves, and it seems like people have had a pretty positive reaction to this one so far. How do you feel about Bowser Jr.'s voice?
I think it's
Is
an
that a little off-putting?
extremely weird,
Yeah.
casting choice. I don't think it sounds terrible from what I've heard, but in a million years, I would not have guessed Benny Safdie would do the voice of Bowser
Right.
Jr.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a I can't help but feel like it just sounds old for a
he's a
junior.
40-year-old man, or
Yeah,
like
it's
39 or something.
it is kind of interesting because there's popular
Maybe
kid actors too. So like I don't know why. Yeah, I wonder.
yeah,
I just wonder how it went
yeah,
down.
Bowser Jr. is like uh, he's very much like a small child,
Yeah.
almost a toddler.
Well, and unlike
This
most of the
looks more like a
characters,
I
I was just gonna say, unlike most of the characters in the Mario universe, we already have a very vivid idea of what Baby Bowser, not Baby Bowser, sorry,
yeah,
Bowser Jr. sounds uh,
yeah,
like from actual games, and it's not like that. So, and like at
yeah,
least with Mario, you could be like, well, Mario doesn't usually talk in full sentences, you know,
mhm,
but
mm.
Bowser Jr. It's like the only character who does talk quite a bit. So it is interesting hearing such a jarring transition from video game to movie adaptation.
Yeah, it's not the direction I would have guessed they would go, and probably
Right.
not the one I would have taken myself.
Sure. They also showed off Birdo. I don't think Birdo really did
I saw
anything in the
that.
trailer, but Birdo does
She shoot
exist.
egg.
She did shoot egg. Um, and I yeah, I don't have any notes to say about that. Um, that's yeah, that's it for me. Do you have anything else you want to add about this? I don't know. It's just a
No,
trailer.
I'm
It's like you know,
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, it's not a stinker.
sure.
Um,
I'm sure
there
it won't
you
be.
could the original Mario movie was, like, the most inoffensive 6 or 7 out of 10 movie of all time. Uh, it could go up or down from there.
Yeah, I think Hollywood has finally figured out how to do video game movies without making the gamers
Mhm.
so absolutely pissed at you. And
Yeah.
they're gonna ride that bubble till it pops for sure. Uh,
There was a moment in the trailer where I had kinda like a flinch or a cringe, I guess I should say, where at
uh
the end, Toad sees Yoshi and he's like, "Oh, so there a random dinosaur shows up and he's just part of the group, okay." And I was like, "Ooh,
yeah,
that
yeah,
sounds like a lot of modern movies I've heard."
yeah. That's very. The winking towards the camera is something I have a very
Mhm.
small tolerance for in movies. To be honest,
This, like,
yeah,
post-meta, super ironic era of cinema that we're in
yeah.
is actual hot dog water,
Yeah,
but
and I blame Marvel, but yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah, I don't know. I don't I didn't care for the first movie so much. I will probably
mhm.
be dragged into watching this one with my girlfriend and her nephew or something. That's usually what ends up happening. That's why I saw that recent Jurassic World movie, which oh my gosh, my standards were low, but I was still surprised. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, it's there's a trailer. You guys can watch it if you want to find out more. They called it a whole direct, and all they did was show a trailer. But you know, what are you gonna
Mm,
do? Uh, the next topic is somewhat relevant because it is about Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which recently had its expansion pass or uh update. I don't know what you would call this thing. DLC slash Nintendo Switch 2 edition details
upgrade?
came out about it. Upgrade. That's the word looking for. They showed some more details about what's in the pack as well as dropped the price. As for stuff added inside, it does seem like it's a little bit more substantial than when they originally uh introduced
Mhm.
it, which is cool. When they first showed it off in the direct, I was just like, uh, "What you get to hang out in the lobby? I don't understand. What is the appeal of this?" They showed off some more things that look kind of neat. I particularly thought the ghost mode was at least interesting, where you have like 100 different Mario's in a ghost form, that you're basically racing with in the same level. That's kind of neat. It adds a semblance of like almost battle royale style multiplayer without the chaos of it, which is kind of cool. Um, Not that I would necessarily be against the chaos too. If you had 100 actual people there where you can't even progress, I think that would be a novel, cool thing in its own right. But still, ghost mode is kind of neat. Um, they added specific levels where you could play with your friends inside of them. You know, game chat. It seems like a bunch of little things, but there is a lot of little things, which makes me feel a little
Mhm.
bit more comfortable with its right to be an upgrade pass in the first place. Um,
Yeah.
but then there's the price, which we can get to in a bit. Is there anything you wanted to mention about the content of the stuff itself, or?
To be
Not that
honest,
you
this is
have to.
one that I have totally slept on.
Okay, that's fine.
I haven't even played like, my siblings got Mario Wonder,
Uh-huh.
when it came out, and I played it then, and I have not since.
Okay. So it's safe to say you probably will not be buying the Bella Bell Park upgrade anytime
I
soon.
would have to buy the base game before I did that, so
Right.
probably not.
Which hey, you might be able to get the Switch 2 edition that comes with it. I think this was all like good stuff. The difference is just the price. It was announced that it's gonna be $20. Immediately I'm like, okay, it's good stuff. It's
Oh,
not $20 worth of stuff though. It's not, you know,
yikes.
it's not indie game of high value that's worth $20, insert title here. It's not that. It's just it's a bunch of minuscule things to make you feel a little bit more justified in buying an upgrade pass to begin with when you have a Switch 2. So, uh yeah, I don't know. It looked good for a second, but like the price just $20 is crazy to me. I think the value of the content itself is better than maybe Donkey Kong upgrade pass. Maybe better than the Animal Crossing upgrade pass, although I don't know much about Animal Crossing, so I can't say for sure. No, it definitely was though. The Animal Crossing one only adds extra freaking resolution and mouse mode and stuff that you already paid for when you bought the system anyway.
Mhm.
So it looked like
Everything else was free, yeah.
right. It looked like a decent enough upgrade, but not it's just
Mhm.
the $20 is crazy to me. And I was wondering, I was thinking about this last night. I was like, did they purposefully shadow drop the Donkey Kong Country Returns HD content update that for free, as well as the Animal Crossing update before the Switch 2 version came out? Did they drop both of those in the same week that they announced Bella Bell Park to try to ease the pain of announcing that's going to be $20? So they could be like, well, we just released two free other packs. What do you want from us? It's like,
Yeah, I
I
think the
wonder.
real issue is the insane inconsistency on their
Oh,
pricing.
it's wild. It's wild.
I really can't believe how all over the place it is. I think on principle, a console upgrade should not cost more than $10.
I would,
Um,
I honestly think a console upgrade, if we're just talking about upscaling resolution and like mouse mode and stuff like that,
oh, well, that
I
should
don't,
be free.
that
Yeah,
should just be free since we're already paying a lot for a Switch 2
yeah.
anyway.
If
But,
you're going to be packaging in some, I guess what you could call DLC,
right.
I'm not gonna throw a giant fit over you charging for it, but
Sure.
$20 is a lot of money. Um,
I
that's
can
more
also
than Silk Song costs. Like,
right. Yeah, that was the game I was alluding at earlier. It's like you could just buy Silk Song, which you're probably gonna have a lot more fun with than Bell Park or Bella Bell Park. It's a stupid name.
mm,
Bella Bell Park. I I also it does not sit with me well at all that a game that's old can be re-released at a higher price than the
yeah,
original. That is
that's such a
insane
good
to me.
point. Yeah,
Like I cannot fathom the idea of paying 20 extra dollars for Mario Wonder, which came out what in 2023? Was it
mhm.
2024? I think it was 2023, right? It might have been
Oh,
2024.
no, I think 2024. My
Okay,
memory is
but
bad.
it's still, 2 years old at this point. The price has gone up by $20 on the shelves. Like that is wild to me. And the biggest thing was Breath of the Wild, which was insane to me. The Switch 2 edition costing 10 extra dollars when it released on the Wii U. It was technically two generations behind. And then they were selling it for a higher price. I hate that. I don't
Yeah,
think
for
that's
what
good for the industry. I don't think that's good for the aftermarket. I don't like it.
yeah, what it cost $60 at launch brand new?
Right. Yeah,
It's
$60 at
or
launch
was it
and then
6 yeah.
$80 now for Mario
Yeah.
Bros. Wonder. And
Ye
what is with the Mario games of all games getting this premium price tag, as if Mario is not the most like casual thing that you can experience? What is this new Mario tennis game going to be priced
yeah.
at? Because if they price that at $70 or $80, it's like I mean it'll probably at least be 70. But if they price it at $80, that's going to be wild. Those used to cost less than the big stuff
Yeah.
because it was like a less premium experience.
I get that they wanna make profit, but they could be making such a statement
Yeah.
right now with their prices. If they were sticking to 60 or even like 70, okay,
Right.
let's call that.
Well,
Like,
and
in this like, ecosystem where every game is $70 and comes with a $20 battle pass, like, Nintendo could be just the like, what they used to be, where
yeah.
you get Wii Sports for free with your console.
Yeah.
Um, I just think it's such a shame that they
It
are.
is such a shame. And you know, we when Tears of the Kingdom came out, that was a $70. That was like the first Nintendo $70 title. And I think like we were like, oh man, $70. But we also all kind of just agreed, like, well, the 60 had to end at some point. You know, I think a
Yeah.
lot of us were like kind of accepting that, like, okay, $70
Mhm.
for new titles is gonna be the norm. Inflation, like we get that. But then the jump to 80 was so abrupt that it's like, what happened to 70?
Yeah.
We never got our period of 70 as Nintendo fans. Uh,
And Mario Kart World, I love that game, but it does not justify that
no,
price tag. It's
not
not
at all.
this, like, other like, I think Donkey Kong Bonanza is worth more than Mario Kart World, and that's
Right.
valued $10 less.
And even then, I would say I would still be a little upset if Donkey Kong was more than 70, but I agree that it
Oh,
should
yeah,
be worth
no,
more than
me
Mario
too.
Kart for sure.
I just that's the bizarre
Yeah.
inconsistency where, like, why is Mario Kart World $80 and why is
Yeah.
your huge
Kirby Air
3D
Riders was
platformer.
70, and I love Kirby Air Riders. That's like
Yeah.
best game on the system for me right now. But I yeah, I it's one thing with the new $80 price tags, but to re-release an old game for the modern price tag that nobody wants to begin with, which is $80, that ain't it, chief. That's something I doesn't sit well with me at all. Uh, and to those who are wondering why people this late in are still complaining about the prices of things, especially when tariffs are now a factor and things are getting more expensive, like I get it. But if we don't say anything about it, then it's just gonna get worse. Like you have to say something about it, right? Also, nobody is shaming you or nobody should be shaming you for actually buying the games. You know, you could do with your
Yeah,
money
of
as you
course.
please. But it's just worth mentioning, like, hey, they should not be charging $80 for a game released 2 years ago. That makes no sense to me. Um, anything else you wanted to add to this?
I
Okay,
think we covered it. I mean, we could
I
go
think we
on
covered
about
it.
it for hours, but
Yeah, I think we pretty much got there. I have a couple of like hors d'oeuvres of news bites that we don't really need to jump into, but I just want to list them for the sake of people listening. Walmart recently leaked an image that showed two Nintendo GameCube titles that have not currently been confirmed for the NSO, as a promotion for the NSO, and one of which was Pikmin 2, and then the other one was Metroid Prime 2. First of all, both banger titles. Um, both sequels when neither of their prequels are on the system yet. Such a wacky Nintendo thing. Assuming
oh
that
my
this is
god.
true, I have a hard time believing it wouldn't be. Why would Walmart accidentally drop an image of Metroid Prime 2 from their just, file of GameCube images? Whoops, accidentally
Uh,
dropped Metroid Prime 2, That
corporate
it's
prank.
right, a corporate or a corporate break, I guess is always possible. But yeah, Metroid Prime 2 and Pikmin 2 both released in 2004, by the way. Both incredible
Hmm.
games. Both in my top 10 favorite games of all time, not even joking. So that's
Mm.
pretty cool in theory. I don't I'm not going to buy it because I don't I'm not going to pay the subscription for it. I already have these games. I have no reason to. But that sounds kind of cool. And it's also worth mentioning that Metroid fans on the subreddit are extremely sad now because they think that pretty much confirms Metroid Prime 2 remastered is not coming out anytime soon, which is
Yeah,
true.
I heard.
That is sad.
Yeah,
But
I heard the whispers of that. Yeah.
right. A lot of other people when they saw these images, they're like, "Oh yeah, cool." Then I go to the subreddit, click on the post, and all the comments are like, "Well, shucks, we're not this. It's over, guys. Pack it up. We're not getting Prime Two
uh,
remastered anytime soon." I'm like, "Yeah, that does suck." Because Prime remastered, I think, has got to be one of the best remakes Nintendo's ever done, just because of like not ruining what was already there and just making it beautiful. And it's like that's all you need. Um, so to see Metroid Prime Two's world in that, oh, it would have been so cool.
yeah.
But
Not
you
it
know,
was also one of their, like, rare, like, kinda cool chill moments where they were like, "This game is $40 and it's released today. You can go get it."
that's crazy cool. They sold it for cheaper than normal because that's like just arguably the best game ever made. So uh, I think that's I don't know if you can triumphant that value. That is crazy awesome, and I hope that a lot of people get to appreciate how good Prime 2 Echoes is because obviously not a ton of people have played it. And Prime 1 gets a lot of respect and it got even more from remastered. So hopefully putting it on
Mhm.
the Switch in some capacity sheds light on, I think, a fantastic stand up title, um, even if it is really hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, and Pikmin 2, great. I love Pikmin 2 also. Honestly,
That's the only Pikmin game I haven't played.
oh, no kidding. I think that is the best Pikmin game, bar none. I think it's incredible. I think it's
Interesting. I'll
yeah,
check it out.
fantastic. I love all the Pikmin games. You know, their standards are pretty high already, but I do think Pikmin 2 is the pinnacle of the series. Um, but yeah, it's great. It's really good. It's long too though. You have to be ready for a long game.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so hopefully these actually come out and it's not Walmart just pranking us. That was supposed to be a quick bite, but I guess we had too much to say. Speaking of things to say, Ivan, is there any additional games that you're excited about? I know we've already done this before, so don't feel like you need to have a game, but had anything else popped up since the last time we talked that you're like, I'm excited to try that?
Nothing that's been revealed or confirmed. I
Uh-huh.
am I won't even say excited, just, like, nervously hopeful that Nintendo has some more games coming out soon.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what a lot of us are feeling right now. I'm also I'm intrigued to try the Fire Emblem game that might come out at some point, but even then
Oh,
they haven't really talked about it in a while, so I'm like, "Oh, where is that?" Um, but yeah,
is that supposed to be a sequel to Three Houses, or am I just out of
I
the loop
don't
on that?
know. I have not played Fire Emblem since Awakening on the 3DS.
Oh,
But I loved the like original games a lot. Like I played the two
mhm.
Game Boy Advance ones and Shadow Dragon on the DS. And then I think I've dabbled in the original Super Nintendo versions, not translated. Um, but
Oh,
I uh I would be excited to get back into the series. And maybe this would be the time to do so because there's a drought of other Nintendo games. So I, in
yeah,
theory, am a Fire Emblem fan. I just haven't been
yeah.
practicing for a bit.
Well, I can highly recommend Three Houses if you
I
need
have
something in the
heard that
meantime.
that is a solid title. Yeah, yeah. I'll definitely uh keep that one in mind. Uh, I think with all that, then I think maybe we've done it. Don't you think we've done it?
I feel mightily accomplished right now.
Yeah, I think we did. I think we did. I think that's a podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you would like to uh voice any of your concerns in a more personal manner, I do have a Discord server for the Pat Nat Cast, called the Pat Nat Games Discord server. You can check that out, link in the description. You can also listen to this podcast on any place that you listen to podcasts, whether that be on this platform or that platform. Ivan, thank you so much for joining me again. Where can people find you again if they want to get to know more about you and your content?
I'm on YouTube and I have a Discord channel. I don't have any other social medias, so here I am. And thank you for having me on again.
Oh, yeah, of course, of course. Always a good time. And thank you guys for listening once again. Let us know if you watched both the Ivan episodes, and you'll get a special prize that will definitely
Uh,
happen.
quit while you're ahead. Quit. It's not legally binding yet.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I could cut the podcast, whatever. But thank you guys. Take care. So long. Have a good one.
Bye.